Hello and welcome to another video. This videos I try to do is more about the techniques, as I promised in my videos Electronic Torture, how to survive it. I always said, well, Skalarwave I will explain later and not now, first the helping things, but I think now it is time has come to explain you a little bit about scalar waves, how they are working. Well, I try to do my best. I'm not a scientist. I took all my informations out from internet and from books. I will explain later which kind of books and which persons or which scientists are dealing with the scalar waves. I will tell you later. Well, first I have to start with the basics. You know, we learn at school about electricity and about electromagnetic wave. Well, I think I start first with electricity. This is quite important. You know, electricity is the ability to push electrons forward. That produce. This is a kind of energy. So you have motors. You can use motors with electricity, and but how is it made? Electricity in the beginning, you have a magnet. There's always a magnet with two poles. I show it. There's a north and a south pole, and there's a magnetic field. And the best magnets you can have is from iron, because if you put these iron atoms in a certain direction, the gravitones they going through this iron core, and then they turn back and again, and so there are always gravitones flying around this magnet. And if you have a strong magnet, you can even feel it a little bit, that there are it feels a little bit heavy, because these gravitones, they have a certain mass, more than electrons. They are also bigger than electrons, and the same magnetic field we have around our Earth. You know, in the internet there are so many theories about flat Earth, and but I must reject this. If you go in an airplane, you can see that we are living on a globe. You can see that there's a globe. It's like a ball. You have in here south and north. I don't know exactly. I think the geographic north pole and the magnetic poles, they are changed. I'm sorry, I have forgotten how it works, but we have a magnetic field. Even the birds, when they are wandering from north to south, well, now I see this gooses. There are gooses here in Germany. They collecting, and then they flying direction Africa, going to warmer places. Well, so even the birds can feel this magnetic field and this gravitones to make their course right to the south. You can produce a magnetic field by copper wire, but the copper wire must be curled as a coil. So if you have a copper coil, you send these electrons through this coil, and in the middle of the coil they there's a magnetic boost, if you like, and around this coil there's a magnetic field. Well, I think boost is not the right word. You can say beam. There's a magnetic beam. Gravitones are pushed as a beam through this coil. So you can hit people if you have a strong, very strong magnetic coil. For example, this. So this is the first weapon, a very primitive weapons. It don't works with DNA analysis or DNA code. I explained in my first videos. I talked about Roger Tolles. He said in a video, in an interview, I load up on my channel also, that they have special devices that they can tune your DNA so you got the signal and nobody other feel it. But this time the first primitive weapon, I think it's from the 50s. It looks nearly similar like this. It is a big it's a big plate, a round plate. There's a big copper coil in it, and on a scrapyard they lift this old iron and this metal scrap, and then they put it from one place to another place, and if you do the other direction you can boost somebody gravitones, and if you have still this little metals inside your body, they spray it with chemtrails, you inhale it, so you have this barium strontium inside you, it's magnetic, it is in your nervous system, and they give you a boost with a magnetic beamer, so that can shivering you to hell. I know. I think many targets individuals they know what I'm talking about. Now, if somebody see this film, can't believe it, well, you don't have to believe it. I advise you to put out this barium strontium. If you are a target or not, it doesn't matter. You should do this because this magnetic heavy metals, they can influence your nervous system, and even they make you sick. Or if you're not a targeted individuum, if you are not tortured, but you are targeted anyway. I say it in many videos. There are people, maybe they're thinking, well, this crazy guy talking this crude shit here, and they don't believe it. But you don't have to believe it. But I make these videos. My first address are targeted individuals. You can try out what I'm saying, or you can try to do my practical advices, so you will see that it helps. So, well, nobody has to believe me. You can check it out by your own. So, well, there are gravitones, there are magnetic fields, there are electrons, and it seems that they are not liking each other. They pushing each other, and this is used for making electrical currency through a copper wire. Well, I show you pictures in German, but I try to translate. Well, you see this picture. There's a magnet, red and green, so there are two poles. Inside there's a copper loop. It's for school. It's experience physics school, and so kids can see how electricity is made. So there's a loop, and there's a copper loop turning around a magnetic field, and while this copper loop is turning around in this magnet field, they're changing. Um, there's a changing. These electrons start to moving inside this copper. Well, you know why they use copper? I mean, a stupid question. I'm sorry. I guess you know it. Copper is the best element to well, I have this word in English. I don't know. Well, it's the best metal to moving electrons forwards, backwards. Well, forwards, backwards. That's a good question. As you maybe know, there are two kinds of electricity. The first invention was made by Edison from America. He had this currency only one direction. You call it DC. And then comes another man, Nikola Tesla. He made a motor with a currency that is changing all the time. It is called AC. So that I don't know in English what is. I know the band AC/DC, okay, but I don't know what it means. I think DC means directed currency, and AC means accelerating, so changing the direction all the time. Nikola Tesla made this motor for producing um, accelerating currency, and you see there are magnets, 4 magnets inside. There's a cross, there are copper wires, and this cross is moving inside this magnet field, and always the pole, there's a north and a south pole, and while it is turning inside this magnetic field, the direction change. So that means that the electrons going forwards, backwards, all the time. And what is great for this changing is that there's no more you know, if you have a one direction, you lose a lot of energy in this copper wire. It is difficult to transport electricity over a long distance. If you think about this, around the countries, there are this big masts. You know, we have it in Germany, and without this invention, accelerating currency, it would be possible. There was a big fight between Edison and this new invention made by Nikola Tesla. Well, they said later, well, it was Westinghouse invention, but this is a lie. They took it from Nikola Tesla, and then they said, well, it was Westinghouse who made this changing currency motor generator, but this is not true. While there was a fight between Westinghouse and Edison, and Edison said, well, this is dangerous and it can kill people and animals, and well, there was a big struggle, but this AC is quite economic, because you can transport electricity over a long distance, and with a DC not. It is not possible. Well, that was about electricity, and you may think, well, when will I start with this um, Skalarwaves? Well, I try to make a shift to this topic now, and you know that there are electrons in a wire. They are fixed, but there's also energy transported in the air by electromagnetic waves. Yeah, and I show you another picture from, well, um, yes, this is electromagnetic wave as we learned it at school, and there I say it in the beginning, it is like we learned it at school, but there is a missing, there's something not in there. Um, in school we learn there are electrons, this is black, and there are B, B stands, no, this is E, and there's the B. B stands for magnetic field, and so there are gravitones and electrons. They curling around this axis in the middle. Um, Here it starts. There's a source, energy source. Maybe it's a broadcast station. On the other side, there's a radio, so you can hear in your radio what they are talking about many hundred miles away from you. It comes through the ether, through the air to you, and the only thing what you have to do is you need the same frequency on your radio. You tune it, you turn it. Then if you have the same frequency as this broadcast sending station, then you can hear. And all this informations, sound, music, speaking, they are transported with this electromagnetic wave, but there's something missing. Inside this wave there's a vacuum channel. There are many vacuum channels, as Nikola Tesla found out. And inside this vacuum channels there are scalar waves. So scalar waves are nothing special. They are always inside a electromagnetic wave, but there are techniques you can put this scalar percentage higher, so that you have more scalar wave than electromagnetic wave. And scalar wave is moving longitudinal, so that means in the direction of spreading. It goes forward, backward, like a sound wave. You know it maybe from a sound wave. If you have a sound wave, why you can understand talking, speaking, it's because the sound wave is somehow more thinner, more thicker, I don't know, so that sound wave can also move forwards, backwards a little bit, and the same game in a scalar wave. In a scalar wave, you can transport a lot of things, gravitones, electrons, patterns. I will talk about this later. Well, even the nature uses electromagnetic wave in combination with a scalar wave inside to communicate. Our body cells do it. Well, I can show you a book. It is from a German physicist. His name is Konstantin Meil, and he made a book about DNA and cell resonance. This is also in English available. Now it is in German. You can also buy it. There's an internet site. You Google for this name, Konstantin Meil or Meil. Well, it depends. If you are targeted and you feel that you are tortured, you are not able to. Maybe you are able to buy a book, but maybe you are not able to read it. So this is why I make these videos, to explain you a little bit about the scalar waves. Well, the first thing, this picture is very interesting. What you can see is here, it's our DNA string. So we have it in our body cells, and our DNA string is a wire for electrons. You see this E, that means E is symbol for electrons. Electrons going forward through this coil, DNA helix. Well, it's a double helix, and when the electrons moving fast, it's the same game. It is the same as I showed you already. Inside your DNA helix there's a magnetic beam, and the other cells, they can feel it. They can not even feel it. They have a resonance. All our body cells are in resonance with this magnetic beam. It is produced exactly the same way, like this. The electrons going through this copper wire, and there's a magnetic beam, a magnetic field, and believe me, it is not only somehow a magnetic field and the other cells are thinking, well, what a nice boost, hello. It is much more complicated. There are informations, they communicate a lot. I must explain it later, because that was just showing you, giving you the first name. If you want to make a research on scalar waves, body cell communication, you can Google for this name, and if you like, also for this book. In English it is DNA and cell resonance. Well, so this is for them, this evil force that are attacking us. It's a good way to disturb us, to torture us, even to kill us, if you like. Well, and if I say to kill us, this is maybe scary for you. Well, it was also for me, but I can promise you, they only can kill you if you have this in your body. This is a Morgellon. I know it looks not real, it looks a little bit fantasy-like, but I show you some more pictures. But first, let me explain. This Morgellon, as I believe, it can copy our DNA code. It is full with magnetic body. They say they have also copper inside their bodies, and they start as they come with as a fiber, blue and red fiber. You inhale it, and they building in your body, and then they have this body's sticking under your skin, in the deeper skin, so they only can kill you if you do nothing against this here, because they have so much metals, copper, I don't know what they have, so they can storage the energy they give you with this attacking machines, and they can give you such a pain right in the frequency of your own DNA that you think, well, it kills me. It's exactly what they try to do. So what you have to do is to get this out. I explained it in my other videos. I will not going into detail now. If you want to know how to get rid of this Morgellons, you have to see my other videos. Title is Electronic Torture, How to Survive It, Part 1, 2, 3. Don't even think it is enough. I just see Part 1 and maybe Part 5. You have to see all of this, even if it's bother you. I know that it's not quite easy to listen to me because I'm not a good entertainer. I know, but anyway, I'm a survivor. I survived this, and I would advise you to see my videos, read it, see it like a book. First page, second page, like this. It's all connecting together. You can't. I made it small, maybe half an hour. So I see that now we have 27 minutes. So that means that this video goes somehow to an end, because more than a half hour nobody sees this, because I know in YouTube the people prefer mostly shorter videos, so this is the reason why I made always about half an hour videos. Well, that was an introduction, so I can give you some hope. Yes, they made an evil weapon. They have a biomechanic life form that copies our DNA, and this Morgellons, they're collecting all. They don't. This Morgellons collecting the metals out of your body. They're using your copper, your iron, whatever. I don't know what they are all collecting, to building a big energy tank to give you fire on your body, and so that means that this weapon is not so how you say, you can fight this, you can see it. I was hidden badly. I was nearly dead, I would say, and so I'm still living, and so there are ways to defending you, and I just try to explain how this technique works. Well, I explained a little bit electrons, gravitones, electric currency, electromagnetic wave, and in the next video I will go into scalar wave more in detail. Well, see you next video.